Hello everyone, Simon is here with AvaTrade, and we're starting our weekly trading plan webinar. And of course, I want to welcome everyone back. And for the new visitors, a few words about the webinar. And actually, the title says it all. What we're trying to do here is actually create a plan, a structure, or a game plan for the upcoming week. And we're doing it by looking at a few fundamental things. We're looking at the economic calendar, and then we switch to the trading platform and go through specific instruments, trying to see certain directions, levels, and so on. So let's start. Before we go into it, just as usual, I would like to read the risk warning. Any capital markets and trading information disclosed in this webinar is provided for informative purposes only and should not be construed or applied as investment advice, recommendation, or suggestion. CFDs are complex instruments and come with a high risk of losing money rapidly due to leverage. 71% of retail investor accounts lose money when trading CFDs with this provider. You should consider whether you understand how CFDs work and whether you can afford to take the high risk of losing your money. And you can find the full disclosure statement at avatrade.com. Now, this is how you can keep in touch and follow up on everything that we post on Twitter and YouTube. Of course, you have a lot of information there, a lot of videos, a lot of tutorials, a lot of webinars that are being recorded, including this one. And agenda usually we're going through groups of instruments that includes indices, Forex, commodities, and stocks. It could be in a different order, of course. So let's start. We start with what's been happening, and again, no good news for now. It's been 17 days since the war started. Nothing good to report as of now. So the focus is on that, of course, and market's been very sensitive, of course, to what's happening. Besides the market, on the human level, a lot of people are dying on both sides. A lot of things happening on the diplomatic level, on the country level, or countries or world levels. Everybody's trying to help. About 2 million people, 2 million refugees left Ukraine. They've been placed in different countries, mostly Poland. And I hope they will have better news in the upcoming week. So as far as the economic calendar, and something that I'll be talking about, that the major part of it is actually FOMC meeting that's happening this week, and on Wednesday. It's a 2-day meeting, so on Wednesday they'll actually announce the next move as far as the interest rate. We have a press conference, which is very, very important. So Monday we have RBA meetings minutes. That's from Australia. They'll be talking about the monetary policies. We have retail sales from China. Tuesday we have unemployment from UK. Wednesday, retail sales from US, important number. We have inflation data from Canada. We have the key day on Wednesday, the 16th. As I said, the monetary policy, interest rate decision, that's going to be the first hike. Some expect 0.25%, some expect 0.5%. But the press conference is going to be very, very important because everybody wants to hear specifics, what's next. And of course, due to the wars happening, some actions could be adjusted and some course of action could be changed. So it's very, very important. And the market will be really expecting the news and, of course, act upon it. We have GDP numbers from New Zealand and Australia, unemployment rates. And Thursday, we have similar actions from Bank of England. We have interest rate decision, and also as far as the next course of pound will be decided, I guess, here as well. And Friday, we have a Bank of Japan press conference and retail sales from Canada. Now, what happened on Friday? We had very good data from Canada, huge increase of jobs, and unemployment went lower, and Canadian dollar really was playing very strongly. We'll take a look at the moment what's been happening there. So let's switch to the platform, and we'll start going through specific instruments. First of all, of course, the indices, they had a pretty bad week, to say the least. We had S&Ps dropped by 2.9%, Dow Jones dropped by 2%, and Nasdaq Composite dropped by 3.5%. So let's start with them and try to see what could be potential moves for the upcoming week. So as you could see, it's been a long downturn on S&Ps. If you look at the daily chart, we tried over here on the 9th of March to move. It was a nice recovery, but we really hit the ceiling. We hit the strong resistance around 42.75. We went above it, but closed right around it. Then Thursday come, we had the sell-off, but a little bit of recovery, still closed on the negative. And Friday was very interesting, and I just want to explain what happened here as far as the market reaction. All this move was a pretty strong move here, and I was trying to look for the reason of it. And then later, some sources posted that Putin actually said there's some progress in peace creation and so on. So market initially reacted to it, and we went. It was a very strong few hours move. We went as high as 43.35 on S&Ps, but then the market just erased all the gains and went much lower, and we closed pretty much on the low on S&Ps. Now on the daily chart, what could it mean? Take a look. This is the before all the war happened. We had a sell-off on S&Ps, and this low right here, we spoke about it I think last week. On January 24th, we went to this level here, and the low that was 44.27. Okay, sorry, low 40. Sorry, that was the high of the day, 42.13. Okay, so take a look what happened since. This was the day of the beginning of the war. We went way below it. It closed right above it. So this level pretty much held, and then it was a nice bounce. This is a daily chart, right? Nice bounce. We'll keep on hitting 43.82, and then on the 7th of March we closed below. Another tried to bounce, failed, and then on the 9th we actually made a nice advance move to the upside. Then we held, and then we closed again below. So this could mean potentially, I hope miracle will happen and the war stops really soon, but it doesn't look, unfortunately. And I think Monday and in the next days, we might see a continuation to the downside as all this try to keep the market higher really failed, and the bottom of this channel 42.13 also failed on Friday. So we closed at 42.05, and the low was 41.98. So I'm using S&P as a general thing. You might know that a lot of traders and investors using it as a general indication what's been happening, because it has probably the most stocks, and those companies are doing business internationally. So I'm not going to go in depth in all of the indices. We'll go through them, but not so deep. So I'm using S&P just for you to understand what's been happening in the global markets, equity markets. So of course, 4,200 psychological, next kind of a psychological level. See if we break it there. But I think next level, if this week or this coming week starts to the downside, next point of, or checkpoint, I guess, will be the 4101.5. This was the level where we bounced when the war started, and market easily can go and try to retest this level, 4100. Okay, so that's the direction for the upcoming week. Again, we're closed on the lows, and that's an indication that the week might start with a move lower. And of course, over the weekend, they continue bombing Ukraine. A lot of issues happening, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better, unfortunately. So that's S&P. If you take a look at Dow Jones, it looks a little bit stronger here, but Nasdaq looks weak as well. So that's US indices. Now take a look at European indices. We actually had a drop with all the actions in the war, and they tried to help and spending money and so on. So the market really reacted in a negative way, and then we had a nice 2 days of recovery, and actually Friday closed positive for DAX, closed positive for FTSE, and the French index CAC 40 also held, even though it was selling off here. So after this huge drop with overreaction maybe to it, it's been holding. So it looks like the past few days European indices look a little bit stronger, but we have to take into consideration that they did have a very strong fall before. So even though it looks like they held, but they still had this really a weakness in the past week. So we'll be watching what's next. Nikkei, after this drop, is really having a hard time going any higher. So again, if you look in general at the indices, it looks like the upcoming week will be having more pressure to the downside. Now, on the positive side, there's a lot of buybacks going on. So it looks like there are two powers. Of course, it's not that dark on the equity market, and something that caught my attention, that a lot of companies actually reporting buybacks, and we'll take a look in a moment at a few stocks just to get an idea what's happening. But in general, Goldman Sachs reported that a lot of companies really announced a huge amount of buybacks for this year 2021, and they're really expecting US companies to buy back a record of about $1 trillion worth of shares, and that's 12% higher than in 2021, when they had 991 billion buyback. So just for you to understand, the buyback means the company really wants to buy the shares back, and it means they really believe in their business, and they believe that things are looking positive, and that's a good sign as an indication that the equity market is really strong. And nevertheless, we do see the drops in it. So it's kind of as always, of two powers. The market's falling on the situation and on the upcoming Fed's actions on the interest rate, but at the same time, some companies feeling a lot of strength and a lot of certainty, and they're showing it by buying back the shares. So we'll look at the specific ones. GE actually announced they buying back 3 billion worth of stocks. And as you can see, when the market was falling, GE stock really is holding and had a nice move higher, and then 4 positive days in a row. Now, Amazon, they announced they buying back 10 billion worth of stock. Initially, it was planned 5, but they announced 10. And also another news you probably heard in the past week that they announced split 20-1. So that's also will attract more traders to trade Amazon. And I think it's the first split since the dot-com era. So it's interesting. And initially, as you could see, that's when they announced the split and the buyback. There was a nice gap up. Actually, pre-market, it was trading around $200 higher than that, but then it didn't open at that high level. It opened a little bit lower, and then we had a gap up the following day, but the market pulled in. Amazon pulled in as well, but it held this initial gap up. So these two stocks on the highlights. As far as the buyback, there's a lot of other companies doing the same. Apple, a lot of talks around Apple as they presented some new products and new ideas, and I just want to share with you a few of them. One is the low-end iPhone, new SE iPhone, which is 5G, and they say that it will be a strong competition to Android phones because it's more affordable and others. And also, among other news, they talk about the new chip and the general idea. Also, when a lot of companies producing electronics, they're really suffering for shortage of chips. Apple actually creating and working on creating better chips for themselves. And now they announced the M1 Ultra, which is the high-end processor that will make its uh, users more happy. It looks like it, and of course, better video and so on. I'm not going to go into technical things, but it's really, really good news. And it is, in general, since the M1 processor came out, it really increased the amount of users of Apple, as the processor really makes a huge difference in the Mac products. So this is the Apple, and if you look at the actions, the stock really selling as the market is selling. So again, if you look at the Apple with all the good news and all good products, we are still seeing a weakness in the stock. And this is the level here, the low of 162. Sorry, I'm bad with numbers today for some reason. I apologize. The low of 154 and a half, and we actually stopped around the same level on Friday. So let's see it first of all, of course, what the market is doing, and this could be the strong support from which will bounce if the market is not increasing the move to the downside. So that's as far as the stocks. Let's take a look maybe at Tesla. Tesla also is holding up, even though the past few days it pulled in with the market. And if you look at the weekly chart, we are approaching this 769, 780 area from which we started this strong move. We had an attempt to break through it. This was the week of 20th of February, but we closed about. So if it continues lower, I will be watching this level around 770 on the possible support. Now, as far as banks, this is the last group that I want to look into. They showed a lot of weakness. As you know, a lot of companies pulling out from Russia, and this week there were announcements from the Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Citigroup as they moving out. So the banking stocks are really suffering this war thing as they're losing a lot of business. And take a look, they were just falling with the huge gaps. And the same, we coming to certain support levels here, and this is the JP Morgan 127.5. Let's see, we might hold this level over here. Goldman Sachs, similar idea. We're trying to to hold supports around 323. Let's see if they manage to hold this. And the Citibank also, it's on the way to probably retest this 52 area. Also, as you could see, really just gaps and going lower. No bounces this week. Let's see what the upcoming week will bring. So again, just to wrap up the equity market, a lot of pressure on the indices. Of course, the stocks are selling, and the two stocks holding strong, the GE and Amazon, and partially it's due to the buyback announcements. Now let's move to commodities for a moment and see what's happening there. We had a lot of volatility here. If you could see, this is the daily chart. Oil has just been skyrocketing, and then we reached around 130. This was the highest here, I think, 130 and a half. Then we had a sell-off, another try to bounce higher, we failed, and then this was a huge drop on the 9th of March. That was Wednesday. We dropped to the previous support over here, and we kind of hold this 107 area. Now on this drop, we went really low. We went to 103 and a half. I guess they were trying to bring it to 100. Psychological level, they couldn't. So it looks like 107 we're holding. The situation is not improving, so we could expect possibly a bounce back on oil, move to the high, maybe retesting the highs again. If not that high, so at least we'll probably go day by day. That's my policy when I don't know what's happening. So the high of Thursday was 114.85. So we're probably going to try to go to this level here, and if we establish some kind of support here, we'll be on the way to retest the highs as well. Now, natural gas, it's been very tricky, as I always say. It doesn't go straight up. It had to move up since the war started. But then at the same time, it had the sell-offs, the 3 days of sell-off, and now we on the way up again. We closed at 4.8, almost 4.795, and the high here was about 518. So we could see, and then interesting, as the take a look back to oil, as oil was selling on Wednesday and Thursday. Actually, after this sell-off, the first 3 days of the week, Thursday and Friday was an up day for the natural gas. So it's not an easy instrument to trade, but in general, fundamentally, it's looking up. So we'll be seeing what's next. Palladium, after this crazy move higher, we really are trying to find a support in the past 3 days as the profit taking took place. It was a strong move lower. Let's see what's there again. The level from which we started was 24.18. We went straight up. Then the last up day was erased the following day on Wednesday. Thursday, kind of a neutral day, and then Friday was a sell-off. So let's see what's next over here. And I want to bring up the wheat. As we said, the wheat was just trading something they called limit up. It wasn't really trading there. The price would just gap at certain levels, and the market and the trading was not really taking place in Chicago because they just used up the limit to the upside. And then in the past few days, it did the same thing to the downside. It was just dropping, and it came to certain levels here. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. It's really hard to make any levels here because it was just going higher and then it dropped. So I guess it would take one day at a time. So we will assume that Friday's low, it's at least support for now. And let's see if we're holding here. The low was 1043.25. So let's see if we're holding there. And at the same time, if it chooses to go higher, so the high of Friday would be a trigger there as well. So the high was 11.25 on Friday. That's as far as wheat. And corn is actually holding because it didn't have as crazy move as the wheat did. So it's kind of a healthy profit taking here, and it's on the way up to confirm the high of this move over here, which was 782.5. So we'll move the level around here. And soybeans didn't really have this crazy move as corn and wheat, so therefore it could be the possibility that if wheat rebounds and continues to the upside and corn does the same, so soybeans could follow up to the upside as they didn't really sell on this drop of wheat and corn. So that's it with commodities. Let's just take a look at copper. Okay, copper is also a very tricky area here where the huge move higher. As we said, the Russia is a big producer as well. Then we had a sell-off Thursday, attempt to go higher, we failed. But it looks like this level here, 4.57 is holding, and it could be the traders would find a buying opportunity here. As you could see, a lot of, I'm just going to zoom out to the weekly chart. So you could see here a lot of attempts to fight this level here, about 457. And then Thursday we hit this level as well. So if it goes lower, some traders might consider buying it around 457, maybe with a small stop with expectation to the upside. So copper is really close to the support level here. It has a little bit of clear levels for actions. Okay, that's it with commodities. Let's move into the Forex world, and we start with dollar index as usual. We had a sell-off here, and then the past 2 days we really recover, and we're on the way. Like I said in the past few weeks, as 96 was the level, then we just go numbers. We went 98, and I said 99. If we really establish the support above 99, 100 is the next level. So let's take a look. The high here was 99.41. Then it was a sell-off as the equity market recovered a little bit, and then we are on the way. We closed about 99 again, so 99.07. So 99 level, it's pretty much the key level now, and around this level we'll have to watch what's next. If we're holding the same play, we might be on the way higher. And if you zoom out, you could see clearly how this level is really key level. We came all the way here back in 2019. Then we played with this level. We had a nice move higher to take up these highs, and then we had a sell-off, and now we're on the way up, and really steadily we're really creating a lot of upside pressure here. So 99, if we start closing above this level, and that's what's been happening. So as you could see, this drop really was bought out really quickly. In 2 days we came right back. So it's really a strong sign. Of course, on the horizon, Wednesday announcement of the Fed. So it could create this rocket power that could bring the dollar high. Again, we're not going to speculate. It is a possibility. At the same time, we could really face a strong resistance here. We can just pull back 98, 97, 96, could be anything. But judging by the way it looks, it's really, I guess, the participants in this trading, they really are expecting a move to the upside here. Now, I mentioned to you that it was a good data from Canada, and the Canadian dollar has been very strong. So let's take a look how it looks on the currency pairs. Take USD CAD, so you could see after this nice move higher, it really gave away some positions here. So with 2 days of a sell-off on USD CAD, even on Friday when US dollar was very strong because of the strength of Canadian, it was pretty much flat day, a little bit to the downside, but take a look at the tails up and down. It's very, very strong. Now, Canadian dollar has been very, very strong against other currencies. Now, the weakest one after this week, we can take a look that Japanese dollar, Japanese yen was the weakest. Take a look at the advanced move on USD dollar against Japanese yen. It was really fighting around 115 and then it just shoot up. Take a look, we held this level and there was like the whole week we just went crazily to the upside, and Friday was a very strong day to the upside. So yen got really, really weak. So I'm expecting this week, if the market continues to the downside and it accelerates, unfortunately, due to the war, and if the Feds add more reasons for the market to panic, maybe it will cause some money to flow into the Japanese yen. So we might see a little bit of recovery there. But because of the weakness of the yen and the strength of Canadian, if you take a look at this pair, it has a very, very strong move. And here, what's interesting, we hit very serious levels here. And I like to look at the levels because it gives me ability to really plan some trades here. And take a look. We had a resistance here, we had the resistance here, and we closed right on that level. So the closed on Friday was 90.88. And we were way higher there, but we closed around below 91.90 here. So again, if the yen will experience some kind of a recovery here, this could be a potential entry to the downside, to the short side on CAD JPY. And of course, dollar JPY after this move, it might see some selling going on, even though it could be a little bit early, because as we broke through this range over here, it could be that they might take a dollar yen further, and the level here was the first stop, and there was 2016 December, the high was 118.65. So we could easily go another 140 pips to that level, 118.60, and it might be happening. So very interesting level here. Now, as the dollar was strong, so of course it was strong against the yen and other currencies. Euro really gave up the recent gains. Was a lot of excitement as we held 108, then we went 109, 110. We hit 111 here on Thursday, 111.20, and then we just dropped back to 109. So nobody's eager to really bring euro higher. So it looks like it's going to retest the lows here. And the pound, it's even worse. Pound, we tried to break about 131.70 here. This is the level that we held before. We closed on Wednesday higher. Thursday we just broke back down through it, and Friday was a huge selling there. And again, on the as far as the levels, we could continue to around these levels here, 128, 129. Again, we have this week both. We have interest rate decisions from US and interest rate decision from UK. So it's interesting what we will see in the upcoming days. But as of now, pound is really just going down. Every consolidation follows by continuation to the downside. So without guessing or anything, it really looks weak, and potentially it could go down another 150 to 100 pips till it might find some resistance, the support that we had back in November of 2020. That's where the whole upside move started. So again, dollar is strong. We have upcoming Fed's decision, and we might see a continuation in the strength of a dollar. Now, Turkish lira, if you look at the exotic pairs. Turkish lira slowly, when we said it was stuck at this level here, really accumulating, and I said, whichever way it starts, it will continue. And take a look, a nice, slowly, steady move to the upside. Friday was a little bit of a correction, so it could be that we found some kind of resistance around 15 here, 1490. Let's see what the upcoming days will bring. But again, as you probably know, there's a huge inflation level in Turkey, the highest in the past 20 years, and the dollar is strong, so it's just logical that the dollar continues higher against the Turkish lira. That's it pretty much on the currency world. And take a look at Bitcoin as a key cryptocurrency that everybody's watching. It's been acting up, and something that a lot of analysts are saying that it was a lot of excitement. They said the Bitcoin is new gold or digital gold or new safe haven, but it didn't really pass the test, because when the gold made a huge move higher, Bitcoin didn't really act in the same crazy way. We are still having a hard time breaking the 45 level here, 45,000. So we keep on hitting the ceiling here, come right back. And in the past week, we had few attempts to go higher, but it looks like the ceiling or resistance came a little bit lower. So it's about 4,200 now. 42,000 is the resistance, and the support around 37 and a half. So as we couldn't go higher, and the sellers kind of are coming lower here, as you could see, the proof of it that we couldn't really reach again the 44 and a half, and we were selling off here. So I guess we might go and retest the 37,000 level here in the upcoming days, and that's what it is. Now, in the good news, the US is talking about some regulation actions as far as Bitcoin. So I think the market took it positively. Maybe this was the move here on the news, but we don't have anything specific as of now. That's it pretty much. Again, I really hope that we'll have some better news as far as the war. I really hope this whole nightmare will finish in this upcoming week, and people can go back to their homes and start rebuilding the country. And I really hope that will happen. I'm sure you do the same. And as far as the markets, it's a lot of volatility. Wednesday will be the key day when we know what's next as far as the Fed's decision on the interest rate, and in general on the monetary policy, and we'll be watching that as well. As of now, pressure to the downside on equities. After recent profit taking on commodities, we might see continuation to the upside, and dollar continues to be strong. I wish everyone a good and positive week. Be positive, be healthy, be happy, and be successful. All the best. We'll be back next week.